Hello and welcome back to, I forgot the number, but I'm pretty sure it's the 42nd episode of Needle in the Lens.
Wow, great way to start.
I know, I didn't check it right beforehand. Hold on, fact check. Yeah, number 42. See, I still remember anyway. Welcome back, the only show that threads together music, movies, and TV. I'm your host, Kevin, with my co-host,
Noah,
who's taking off his glasses right now, apparently, because he thinks that he doesn't need to see for this. Is your vision really that bad? Like, I feel like we discussed this before. Whose vision's worse here?
I mean, if I took my glasses off right here, like, I cannot read anything on my screen.
Okay, so yours is substantially worse than mine is.
Yeah, like, I would have to get very close to be able to still.
Yeah, I can see kind of fine, right? I can read up close here. I feel like I'm at the point where I can function without them, but it's become such a pivotal part of the look that
yeah. And I mean, how long? When did you have to start wearing glasses?
Oh, I didn't have to start until decently late in my life. Like I was in, I want to say the 6th grade.
Okay, yeah.
Probably that's when I started. Yeah.
Yeah. See, for me, it was like I want to say it was like 2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it was pretty early on. I was like, wow, Well, actually, I didn't even realize that I couldn't see. I don't think I did. I was at church and like we were sitting in the back row, I guess. Like I was with my mom and I was sitting there and then she was like, I don't even remember what it was. We were like supposed to read something that was like on some projector thing that they had up at the church. And I was like, I can't read what that says. My mom was like, you can't read what that says? And I was like, no, it's like really far away. You can read that? It's like, yeah. And then that was kind of, but they're like, okay, well, clearly something's going on here.
See, I feel like everyone that wears glasses has the exact moment when they realize that they lost vision, and they have that ingrained in memory. I was in math class with mine, and me and my friend were sitting in the back, and I could not read the board to save my fucking life. I was looking at it, and I'm like, what the fuck does any of this shit say? So I was like, can I borrow your glasses real quick, man? He gave them to me, and I could see them perfectly. And I was like,
wild.
So we have the same vision. Good to know.
Wow.
So I want to say for about 3 weeks, I was borrowing his glasses until I could get my own.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, it takes forever to get glasses.
It takes so long to get glasses.
Which, why? Why?
I feel like the process is a little, it's a little more like, because I think I got my glasses, like I ordered them, my new glasses on January 6th. And then I got them sometime in late, I want to say maybe like January 24th, something around there. So it was like a couple weeks, but I guess
it's just like it's so weird because lenses, the way that they are, they're just the numbers. It's like negative or positive, and then they go by, I want to say like quarter numbers, so 0.25s or whatever. I don't even remember.
To know science.
But, or maybe I'm wrong. I'm fucking stupid. I don't know. But I mean, realistically, if you have glasses or if you're like an optometrist or whatever, you could have just the different lenses on hand and then just put them in the glasses. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't be that hard.
I mean, but I don't know how specific, because some people need bifocals. Some people have
those people can fucking choke. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No.
Heard it here. If you wear bifocals,
you just have inferior eyes. You just have inferior eyes, all right? We can't have that in the gene. I'm not gonna fucking go.
Wow.
No, but real shit. They could just have the lenses on hand. Now, yeah, you have to work with the frames, and all the frames have different lenses, but like still, you still could.
Like it probably y'all, I mean, I don't know. Y'all hearing it here first. Kevin is apparently the expert on.
I'm not an expert. I'm just saying it shouldn't take so fucking long. It shouldn't take as long as it does. These are necessities. These are
a necessity.
Medical necessities. And never mind. I forgot we're in America, so I guess that's a reality for everyone. But still, imagine having to wait for a different medical necessity. Again, you don't have to imagine if you live in America. Shouts out to my couple. I don't even know what the percentage of the people who watch this that
our international
overseas
fans.
Yeah, our international fans.
Shout out to our fans in Brazil.
Oh yeah, we actually, I think we do. If I remember the map correctly, we do have Brazil peeps in here.
Way.
Let me. Now I actually want to check. I want to check now. I think we do have Brazil peeps. We definitely have Canadian peeps. Yeah, see, Brazil. There, we've got Brazilian peeps.
Wow,
here.
We got a couple Brazilian.
We got some UK folk. Germany, Belgium. I think that's Germany. Right. That's not Netherlands. Ireland. Let's go, my Irish brothers. Oh, we have some Russians too.
Whoa! What's going on all the way on the right there?
Indian, South Africa, Malaysia. My MacBook just went off for some reason. Turkey. Wow. We have Turkish viewer. Oh my God, folks. Oh my God, my laptop's not gonna let me do this episode today, is it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
But wow, that's insane. I did not even realize. This has definitely expanded since we first started. Because I remember seeing a couple in Brazil. I guess we don't have No, we do have Canadians. Never mind. This is Montreal too. Look at that. This has been the Analytics Podcast with Kevin and Noah. Very
well. Thanks to our international fans.
Yeah, especially to the ones of you that have healthcare. Lucky you. Couldn't be us. We wish it could be us.
We really do.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not. But today, got some news we're ready to hop into.
Yes, we do.
What are we starting with first?
We are going to start with. I was trying to turn off my laptop, but that's not quite working out for me right now. But it's fine. Let's talk about what's going on with Spotify right now.
Ooh,
yeah, it's some pretty heated stuff going on. Let's go ahead and talk about it. If you haven't been paying attention, Spotify has come under fire over the past, I'd say, week or so, maybe a little bit less than that. I can't quite remember. But Spotify has been under fire because of some controversial deals with their controversial podcast host, Joseph Rogan.
Is his name actually Joseph?
I don't fucking know. I don't care. But I'm going to say Joseph Rogan. Former host of Fear Factor, by the way. MMA shoutcaster, I think, at one point. I don't fucking don't know, don't care.
You know the whole resume.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to keep up with people. But yeah, Joe Rogan has been a controversial figure for a decent bit now, especially what has transpired during and after COVID-19. Obviously, with his podcast, he, quote, as he says himself, has conversations, specifically that terminology, with various different people from different walks of life. He's had, Freddie Gibbs on there. He's had Jordan Peterson on there. So, there's your two extremes, I suppose. Right. But recently, he's come under fire because he's had a lot of people on there that are pushing a lot of anti-vax COVID conspiracies and stuff like that. And listen, at the end of the day, yeah, you may be having a conversation, as you say, but you know what you're doing, man. You're having these people on, and it's a lot more this than that. In one way, there's lots of clips floating around that you can see. I'll talk about a couple that I have committed to memory, but for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at this article here that is from the Washington Post. Spotify's Joe Rogan problem highlights its rocky transition from music streamer to media producer. The audio company pays controversial podcaster Joe Rogan millions. Some employees want stricter oversight of his show. Last week, a public firestorm grew over Joe Rogan and his promotion of medical misinformation. Some employees at Spotify made a desperate bid to draw attention to their concerns about their company's relationship with the blockbuster podcaster who gets millions of dollars to broadcast exclusively on their platform. Dozens of workers on a company-wide internal chat systems said they were embarrassed to work at the Swedish audio company, which has long been known for egalitarian values, consensus-driven decision-making, and a relaxed music-loving culture. Some said that they knew healthcare workers who were aghast at Spotify's support for Rogan, according to company documents and screenshots of the conversations reviewed by the Washington Post. In recent months, Rogan has made scientifically inaccurate comments about vaccines and hosted a prominent anti-vaccine advocate who argued that Americans have been hypnotized into wearing masks. Excuse me. So yeah, he obviously, if you haven't been paying attention to the Joe Rogan news as much as I have, he's come under fire for a lot of different stuff. For one, when he caught COVID, he started pushing or talking about, I guess, ivermectin and shit like that, and how he was taking that to combat his COVID. And then the Joe Rogan is a horse memes obviously were aplenty. Very funny. Love it. Love to see it. And then, yeah, he's obviously had a lot of doctors or credentialed individuals, I say that with quotes, obviously, who are pushing anti-vaccine conspiracies. And like this one that they mentioned, that Americans have been hypnotized into wearing masks. So since then, Rogan's podcast has ballooned in a full-blown public relations crisis for the audio giant, driving away a handful of high-profile artists, spawning a delete Spotify hashtag and prompting deep soul searching and internal debates. According to current and former employees, as well as people familiar with internal debates who spoke on the condition of anonymity to describe sensitive matters. So I don't know if they're going to necessarily talk about... So obviously one of the biggest ones to kind of come to the forefront and demand that Spotify take Rogan's content off the platform was Neil Young.
Yeah.
He was one of the first ones who said, hey, Spotify, if you don't do something about this. And I don't even think he was necessarily talking about Spotify taking Joe Rogan off their platform entirely, but at least just doing something about it. I don't remember exactly. I guess remove their content over COVID misinformation is what it says right here. But I mean, moreover, just Spotify should do something about it. And essentially the ultimatum was do something about it or, I'll take my music off your platform, which what ended up happening was he did. And he was followed by a couple others. If I can see, if I just pull up this article here, let me, because I just opened that. We're back. Neil Young and demands. Rock musicians Nils Lofgren, Joni Mitchell, so on and so forth. Brene Brown, who hosts podcasts Unlocking Us and Dare Leave.
Yeah.
On Spotify, tweet Saturday that she will not be releasing any podcasts until further notice, but did not list a specific reason. So, yeah, essentially, we have a problem here that a bunch of artists are threatening and, going through with removing their podcast off of Spotify, or their music rather, and some podcast hosts as well, apparently, until something is done about Joe Rogan, which, it's interesting to see. And Spotify seemingly not doing anything about it. I haven't seen a statement from them at all.
They put out a just something about COVID misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Just generally, like, if there's a podcast or something that is talking about COVID related things or giving out information related to COVID,
right?
They're gonna add like a disclaimer underneath that directs people towards what they believe to be credible and trustable out like news on COVID. So that was their kind of their band-aid for that. Um, but it is very interesting. Because I don't know. I don't know. It's very interesting that one. The Neil Young thing. He was like, it's me or it's Joe Rogan. Like,
Right.
one's got to go. You know. And obviously ended up choosing him, which I will say is not entirely surprising.
It's not. Like, at the end of the day, Joe Rogan makes Spotify a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
He's a huge name.
Yeah, he is. And listen, I could talk about the fucking problems with the way Joe Rogan is handling the situation and shit like that.
Right.
All fucking day. But at the end of the day, the main issue is with Spotify and how they're platforming this content. There's a very big difference in this versus them just having a podcast like his on their platform. The main difference is that Spotify is paying Joe Rogan directly to exclusively stream his podcast on their platform. Now, yeah, he has his, I guess he does them on YouTube still too, because Spotify doesn't have a video podcast for the time being, but
yeah,
he's not allowed to have his podcast on any other platform. So this is them essentially, because they're giving him money, they are promoting this content. Now this relates a little bit different with copyright law, but it's the idea of like safe harbor, right? So obviously, if you've been familiar with any of the copyright issues that like platforms like YouTube, Twitch have been dealing with, the idea is that they are content hosting websites that, you know, other people just post content to their platforms. They're not necessarily curating it in a necessarily, I forgot what the specific wording is, but they have safe harbor that as long as they take reasonable measures to combat copyrighted content being posted on their platform, that they are within safe harbor to not get in financial or legal trouble for having that content. And it's obviously that's a copyright concept, but I think you can kind of use that sort of meaning and that wording in a way that relates to this Joe Rogan situation. So because Spotify is paying him directly to do this stuff, honestly, I kind of agree with a lot of the employees that they should exercise a bit more of control over his content. Now, yeah, honestly, censorship, terrible, whatever. But at the end of the day, that's their exclusive content that they have the right to have on their platform. And if they want to have a better public image about it, then, you know, something needs to be done about it. Yeah, obviously, it's kind of a lose-lose situation for Spotify either way. If they cower to the left woke mob, then they lose their right-wing Joe Rogan viewers. And if they cater to Joe Rogan, then they lose the liberal audience, so on and so forth. So, yeah,
lose people either way.
Yeah, Spotify does not win either way. And I will say one of the funny things, I think it was Apple Music that they put out a little ad like, oh, you want to listen to Neil Young's music? I was like, that's funny.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny. Good job. Good job on that.
Wild. No, but, yeah. It's obviously in this situation, where I fall on it, I guess, is first, obviously Spotify giving money to Joe Rogan, promoting him on their on their service and literally funding his entire podcast is wild. It is wild that this guy literally gets millions of dollars to sit there and just spew all that shit.
Be a fucking idiot 90% of the time too.
And I think there's already been, I mean, it's not entirely surprising though, you know. But I think now, you know, we're seeing, because of this and because of everyone talking about Joe Rogan, they're like, I'm gonna leave Spotify because of this. Like, I cannot stand to see this, which is like, okay, you know, it's a very interesting thing because people making this move over just Joe Rogan specifically.
Yeah.
And I personally would not leave Spotify over, them having a Joe Rogan podcast, one that they personally and like actually fund. Only because one, I have always known, and I think a lot of people have always known, that Spotify is not the most ethical.
What? That's crazy. What?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. They're not the most ethical, music streaming service. And I think I don't necessarily need or expect that any music streaming service is going to be ethical or move ethically, right? I mean, none of them do to a degree, like it's just kind of the nature of that industry. And I mean, it doesn't have to be, but that's the way that it is. So I think if I were going to choose to leave Spotify, it wouldn't just be because of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe Rogan himself being on there would not be the reason I choose to go and say, I'm not doing this, which seems to be for a lot of people. Obviously, I mean, that was literally the only thing for Neil Young. He was just like, I don't like this guy. I don't want to be on a service that, promotes this guy, which is like, that's him. That's what he wants to do. I mean, he can literally do whatever he wants.
Right.
But for me to say I am not going to support Spotify because of this, because Joe Rogan is on there, and I'm going to instead go to Apple Music because they are not promoting Joe Rogan, I guess that kind of makes everything specifically about this one person.
Yeah.
When I feel like there are a lot of other bigger issues at hand. Not to mention, I go from Joe Rogan to Apple, right?
Yeah.
Or I go from Spotify to Apple. And it's like, we don't even want to open up that can of worms over there.
Which, like, I forgot. There's actually, I think it was T-Pain who retweeted or posted it about the royalty payments per stream. And I want to say Apple was Apple higher than Spotify?
Apple is higher than Spotify.
Yeah.
It is. Like significantly. So I think that is when people, because someone else that announced they were leaving Spotify was Anthony Fantano.
Mm-hmm.
And whatchamacallit, he in his video, he talked about why he is doing this. And his was more, it was less about Joe Rogan and more about the number of issues.
Yeah, it was more like a straw that broke the camel's back kind of deal.
Right. And he was talking about, wow, I was just thinking about all the different Spotify videos I've made. And I'm just like, man, this is just really like not the greatest company. And I don't know if I want to continue to pay for it. He also already uses Apple Music as his main thing. So that situation is a little different. But it's like if people were choosing to leave over that, I think I would understand. But Joe Rogan and like on his own is not going to be enough for me to go to another streaming service, whether it be Apple Music, because one, like I said, it's Apple. So I don't think there's necessarily like a greater morality thing there. Switching, I will say, like, I do completely understand the desire to switch services based on how much they pay artists. That I think is a different discussion. Like the discrepancy between, what Apple Music pays and what Spotify pays, or even somewhere like Tidal,
Yeah. I was going to say, I actually just pulled up the meme, but like, or not the meme, I guess, but the post. But Tidal
Right.
is one of the highest paying one that, according to
Yeah.
this, it only takes 78 streams to make $1. So I mean,
Right.
yeah, if you want to be the most ethical for that reason, then yeah, Tidal. I mean, there's Napster, but I
Yeah.
mean, which is
Come on.
really funny. That was one of the things that went trending whenever T-Pain made this post, is that Napster was back in the day where the place where people would just illegally download music, and
Right.
then now it's one of the highest paying streaming services for artists, which I think is hilarious.
Which
But
is
yeah, no,
wild.
that's really crazy. And like, honestly, at the end of the day, no matter what, streaming in and of itself, like you said, you don't expect that much ethicalness, I guess, or ethics from those companies. In concept, it's kind of unethical for music streaming specifically, I suppose, because like they're not, just from a stance of artists being paid fairly. Because honestly, no matter what, you can always extract more value out of the how do I say? You can always extract more value out of streaming the artist's music than the artist gets from you streaming the music.
Right. And I mean, that's always been a huge discussion, is like how little artists make off of streaming itself.
Now, granted, is there a lot of benefits to it? Yeah, of course, because like it gets your music in the hands of a lot more people, and you can be discovered more, and then you can make more indirect sales, like ticket sales, merchandise, stuff like that. The stuff where you actually make money, which is what a lot of artists have learned to do. But at the end of the day, they're not getting the fair value for the music itself.
Right. And I mean, like you were saying, like streaming has opened up the possibility, opened up the music industry to, to something it could never have had before. There was a point where it's like, if I want to listen to something, I literally have to go and I have to buy an entire album if I want to hear this artist, and that's, not the way things are anymore. But it means I can go and listen to one song by someone and decide, wow, this is really good, and maybe I want to buy their merch, maybe I want to go see them on tour. Like like you were saying, it can lead to other sales for an artist,
it can lead to a much larger sales funnel for the artists themselves than just buying the music straight up.
Yeah, so I think the biggest reason I would understand people leaving Spotify is if they were concerned about, because here's the thing: if everyone goes and does this mass exodus of Spotify, right, over Joe Rogan, what happens? They're like, best case scenario, Spotify goes, okay, we hear you, Joe Rogan's gone, come back, right? And it's like, okay, we've gotten Joe Rogan off of this service,
but it hasn't fixed the majority of the other issues.
Yeah, like
the
Joe Rogan feels like
of issues.
Yeah, he is like one of the smallest things about Spotify,
Yeah.
Or at least Spotify's issues. I mean, so it
is a fairly, in the grand scheme of things, very insignificant thing compared to a lot of the fucked up shit
like
that
there are
they have a company have done.
There are things going on at Spotify and the way that their company is built that are affecting the livelihood of musicians, right?
Yeah.
Millions of musicians, so it's just like, I'm not going to leave Spotify over Joe Rogan. And if I were going to Spotify, it would be over something, something more. But I think for me, moving to something like Apple Music, which one, like I said, ethically speaking, we all know Apple is a notoriously horrible company.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, of course.
And I mean, I'm sure there are people that are going to be like, but it's not Apple, it's Apple Music. And it's like, it's literally, they're literally all the same.
Yeah.
Like, if you're giving your money to Apple, nonetheless, like that's literally just what it is. So I personally am not going to be switching at the moment, only because I don't think that, even if there's this push to leave Spotify, I feel like one of the biggest things I would want is them to pay artists more, and that doesn't seem to be the reason that people are leaving Spotify. And if they did see a bunch of people leaving, they would only go to be like to deplatform Joe Rogan, and I'm not as concerned with that as I am the other issues going on that service. So I'm not personally leaving. Not that I think choosing to leave Spotify is a bad idea. Don't want to deter people from leaving if they want to. Like, I'm not here to defend Spotify. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you can literally do what you want. I'm just saying for me personally, that's why I'm not. But leave Spotify, go to whatever you want. Yeah. But I think, I don't know if, I don't think people should make it a huge moral thing that they're doing, you know?
Yeah. I can kind of see, I guess I really do see your point about how like a lot of people are kind of making it like the moral high ground, whereas like,
right.
Yeah, this is a very insignificant bit in the grand scheme of things. Now, yeah, granted, COVID misinformation is horrible, and when you have a platform as large as Joe Rogan, that the fact that he is spreading this so far and as part of the reason why we've been stuck in this pandemic for so long, because people just listen to him and think he's the fucking expert. Yeah. Which I'm gonna get into like my fucking issues with Joe Rogan in a bit, but like the fact that from the perspective of Spotify, this is a drop in the bucket of the issues with the platform. But I do kind of see why this is a bigger deal just in the grand scheme of things, which is why I think not for censorship, obviously, but I do think that Spotify can and should exercise a bit more control over like this. It's essentially, if they're paying this guy to do a podcast, then they're a studio and this is one of their shows. And if they want to upkeep a more positive brand image, then they can't let him just do shit like this, you know?
Yeah.
And listen, he came out with a 10-minute Instagram statement and like talking about how he's not mad at Neil Young. He used to love Neil Young's music when he was younger and shit like that. And like, maybe I could like have other people with differing opinions, like people that are, pro-vaccine and whatnot. And like, listen, I would want, because the problem with Joe Rogan is that he postures himself as a guy who's like, oh, I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just I'm an idiot. I'm just having conversations with people. But when you actively, continually give the people who are doing the conspiracy theories the platform, and you're talking with them and you're using them to enable your own delusions, while actively arguing and debating with actual experts that you have on, because there are so many clips where people are coming on and they're talking about like there's one that I really commonly remember. I forgot the name of the actual expert himself, but he was talking with him and Joe Rogan was talking about how like, oh, you have a higher likelihood of having some sort of issue if you're a young man and you get the COVID vaccine. And the guy was like, it's like, I mean, there's that's present. However, the issue is largely greater if you're a young man that contracts COVID. And Joe Rogan flat out said, no, I don't think you're right. Can we look that up? And he looks it up, is proven wrong, and then continues to spew his own dumb bullshit. So he's not just an idiot having conversations. He's not. He's actively debating the people who are proving him wrong and enabling the people who are pushing the conspiracy theories. So when he says like, yeah, I'm just having conversation, I don't fucking believe that. He has an agenda and he's using his platform for specific reasons. If he was just having conversations with people and Spotify had those warnings out there and he was more fair and balanced or whatever, as fair and balanced as you can be, I suppose, centrist Andy bullshit, if he was doing that, sure, whatever. There's only so much harm that can do. But the fact that he's not approaching it in that way,
right?
There's the issue. So yeah, I understand why this is a bigger deal. However, yeah, as far as Spotify is concerned, this is a very small drop of the issues that have gone on with Spotify's platforms. And when larger people, or I guess larger figures, make the virtue signal, which I mean, like everyone virtue signals at the end of the day. We fucking virtue signal here. Make the virtue signal that, oh, we're going to leave Spotify because of this. Like a lot of people were talking about how Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are like, yeah, no, we're going to leave Spotify. It's kind of like, yeah, okay. What about all the other issues though? Like this is what,
right.
What's your biggest issue is
like
with them?
This was the last
straw. Yeah.
Right.
It's a little bit
just my
yeah,
thing.
it's a little bit.
I'm
and
not like,
listen, I always when there's celebrities who are banding together against something, you always got to look at it with a bit of skepticism because of course it's always corny.
Yeah. It definitely can come across that way. I think like, yeah, it's just, especially with like this Joe Rogan scenario, like, and that was kind of like, because when I saw like Fantano doing it, I was like, oh God, like,
yeah,
because this is someone that has like, and not, I mean, like I said, still do whatever you want, but he's someone that has like a lot of pull in the music industry.
Oh yeah, no, fucking
extremely persuasive, and
yeah, motherfuckers follow his every word.
And influential. Like people will literally just, oh, Fantano likes it, cool. Everyone,
we're allowed to like 6 albums now, guys.
Yeah, it's like, you didn't. That wasn't your album of the year. What? Like, you know,
it was Fantano's.
So, yeah, so like, I don't think, but I mean, still, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with people leaving Spotify for, you know, whatever issues they may have with it. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's what you personally feel comfortable with.
Yeah. But it's whatever, and we've talked about this before about how when it comes to like cancel culture, quote unquote,
right?
What it comes down to is what you as a consumer or a fan of whatever it is, whatever you're willing to forgive from a person, an artist, a celebrity, a corporate entity, whatever you're willing to forgive. What is your last straw? What is the thing you're willing to take? If you're willing to take someone being an abuser, if you're willing to take someone being a general idiot, if you're willing to take someone who is a sexual mamulter, you know, what are you willing to take? And
right,
like obviously that changes on a person-to-person basis.
Right.
But if at the end of the day, this is your final straw, that's a bit of a weird spot.
It's yeah, and I mean, I think it's you know, and I think I like I was just saying, for me it would kind of be weighing just like, okay, I'm leaving Spotify. One, am I leaving Spotify, and then do I think that because of me leaving Spotify, any of my major issues with Spotify are going to change, or if this push to leave Spotify is exclusively about Joe Rogan, right? And not being fueled by anything else, or bring in any discussions about, you know, how they're paying artists, or the thing where they have like just a bunch of random artists on there that like there's just so many weird things that happen at Spotify, like and it's like, okay, like I look at that, but then I can also go over and look at all the horrible things that Apple's doing, because they're more than just, you know, music, right? Like they have their hand in so many other things, and it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to go to Apple, maybe I want to go to Amazon Music, and it's like
Amazon, like
yeah, you know,
and then
It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, sure, I guess you want to go to Tidal. Like, you can go to Tidal, I guess. Like, I can't necessarily say, like, I know. I mean, then again, your money's still going to Jay-Z, who, like, has also done some, has supported some things that are not like, there was that one thing that Jay-Z was supporting a while ago that was, like, encouraging, like, black kids to cut off their dreads because they were trying to prepare them for, like, the real world
Oh
and get them
yeah.
to look professional. And it's like, okay, do I want my money to go to Jay-Z either? And like, to buy, because of that, my money's also going to the NFL. Like, there are just like all these lines that you can draw
Yeah.
through all of these services.
So at the end of the day, and I hate that I have to have this doomer ass attitude about it. But
Yeah.
listen, at the end of the day, as a consumer, as someone who exists within capitalism, no matter what way you split it, any action you take within capitalism will almost always be unethical one way or
Right.
another. There are
Yeah.
very extremely few instances in which
Right.
whatever you're supporting doesn't go back to exploiting
Something.
people further.
Right. It's very difficult to have ethical consumption.
It's
Like,
damn near impossible.
it's, yeah, practically impossible. So I
You can
think that's
try as best as
something.
possible, and it sucks to have that doomer attitude about it because,
Right.
like, yeah, cool, like, I guess we don't do anything.
And it's like, it's not, I don't know. It's so difficult, right? Because it feels sometimes like you're so small,
Yeah.
like me pressing cancel on my Spotify subscription at home in my room where no one's here, just clicking a button on my laptop. It can feel very, you know, uh, it can feel like nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Like on a person to person basis, any act of, I guess, defiance against whatever it is you're fighting against feels insignificant,
yeah,
which
and it
is,
definitely can. And
yeah,
it's like, am I going to then like happily create an Apple Music account? Like, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I think yeah, it just goes back to what are you personally? Because I'm sure there are probably things, if I found out like, oh, Spotify is now investing in this, I might be like, I really do not want my money to go to that. And maybe that's the reason I'm like, fine, I'm gonna switch to something else, you know? But for me personally, this Joe Rogan thing is not gonna be what makes me jump ship. Um but I completely understand anybody who chooses to or just decides they
yeah,
don't want to do that, So it's like, I'm not morally better than you because I use Apple Music and you use, or I use Spotify and use Apple Music, and vice versa. Like, uh
yeah. And I think that's when it becomes like a eye roll thing because, like, if someone is going to be like, oh, you're still using Spotify after Joe Rogan, it's like, oh, you're using Apple Music after A, B, C, D, and E.
right.
Like,
So
don't try to act morally superior over it.
yeah. So if you choose to leave,
Good for you.
do that.
More
Yeah,
power to you.
go ahead. Um I Yeah, and you know what? You know what, Apple? You want people? Make your interface better.
I liked their interface.
I hate the Apple
It took
Music
me
interface.
a bit to get used to Spotify, but it makes sense to me.
I hate it. I hate it. I just
I
always
just
hate
feel
it.
like it makes
I don't
sense.
know. If they had what it looked like, what year was that? 2017? You know what I'm talking about? Like when you would play the
I think that
music
was when I
and it would
first
like,
had it.
and it would have the color behind it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think they did change it a
Um,
bit. But like I think navigation wise, I feel like it makes a lot more sense than Spotify's does. Spotify's navigation is
mm,
atrocious in my mind, especially on mobile.
there's there's a lot of annoying things about Spotify, like, from a interface standpoint. Just like the biggest thing is like for me, one thing that they used to have that annoys me so much that they don't have now, and I don't think that there aren't enough people that care about it or enough people that use the service or that feature to begin with. But it's the appears on section. I used
That's
to be
still
able to
there.
go.
That's still
No. But I used to be able to go to an artist and go to their appears on section. I could click on appears on and I could see every single
Oh
thing that they're
yeah.
featured on in chronological order of when it was released. Now I can't see everything someone's been featured on. I
Yeah.
can only see
4.
the popular songs that they choose to show me.
Yeah.
And they're not in any sort of order of release date or anything. And I don't know why that feature needed to be taken away in the first place. Like, I want to, what if one day I wake up and I go, I want to listen to every single Boldy James feature that there is. Like, I
Right.
can't, because it's going to be so hard for me to find it, right? Like, I mean, that's just a nitpicky thing, but that's just something.
No,
that Spotify
honestly,
did that, like, really annoyed me.
that's extremely valid. Now that I
Yeah.
think about it, it's like, that is so infuriating.
Like, there are features like I'll probably not know about from certain artists that are probably going to be really dope, but I just have no way of finding them.
You know what? That's so true. Because remember when I was trying to do all of the Denzel Curry features,
Yeah.
and I could not find them
Right.
for the life of me, because it's just, there's no easy way to do that.
And they used to
It's
make
crazy.
it used to be so simple. It used to be so simple. I don't know why they got taken away. They also used to have a way back. Like, I feel like in high school probably.
Mhm.
They had a DM feature. So like you could send
Dude,
people music.
they threw
through
away
Spotify.
all of the social aspects.
Yeah,
of Spotify.
and I can't see what other friends are listening to on mobile. I want to see what they're listening to on mobile.
Yeah. I don't
wanna
want to
see
have
on
to turn
desktop.
on my fucking PC in order to
Yeah.
look at what you're doing.
Come on.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Spotify interface rant over, by the way.
Woo. I did not expect to talk about Spotify for that long, but
Yeah.
apparently there was a lot to say.
Yeah. But listen, at the end of the day, fuck Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
That's it.
There you go.
Moving straight along, let's talk about what the fuck is happening over at Dreamville.
What's going on?
It's looking kinda bad. We have a couple of different pieces of news coming out of the Dreamville camp that we're going to talk about, and it's raising some concerns for the state of the label at this point. So let's go ahead and talk about it. First off, Ari Lennox wants off Dreamville. She wants out. She's tired. And listen, obviously, if anyone's been keeping up with Ari Lennox, you know she's obviously had a lot of issues dealing with her music and such like that. And she's talked about it on Twitter extensively.
Yeah.
But this seems like a pretty big deal. She wants out. So she revealed that she wants out of her contract with Dreamville and Interscope. Taking to Twitter on Sunday, January 23rd, the singer made clear her desire to be free after signing a deal with Cole's label. This was actually last week, I guess. Last week's news. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
After signing a deal in 2015 and releasing her 2019 debut album, Shea Butter Baby. I want to be dropped from the label, she wrote. I'm done and tired. Shut up. The interview was icing on the cake. I want to be free. She had this interview with some fucking guy, apparently. I have no idea who this man is.
Literally no clue who this guy is. Like,
but he said someone fucking you good right now, was asking her a really weird out-of-pocket question in a way that sounded really creepy. And I mean, just not to be fucked up, but look at this guy's face. Like right after asking this question, like it's some creepy shit, dude.
And then he was like, "Oh, I'm just referencing that one lyric in your song." And she was like, "Okay, that's like still really
that's
weird.
Not your business. That's not anyone's business for that matter, besides whomever she's engaging with."
Yeah, especially when you're in an interview setting like this and you don't like maybe if they were more comfortable with each other, or they knew each other, or maybe they had done interviews with each other
several interviews in the past. They have
an established
rapport built,
right?
Exactly. But this guy, I mean, seemingly, I've never heard of this man before in my life.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah, this is really weird.
No.
And she says this was the icing on the cake. And I'm never doing another interview again. She wrote in a since deleted tweet. Just days ago, Dreamville congratulated Ari Lennox on being nominated for Outstanding Female Artist of the Year at the NAACP Image Awards. Following comments made about her label situation, she went on to talk about people being annoyed by her tweets. For Christ's sake, I realize I have no hits. I realize you all can live without hearing my music. I realize my complaining is so aggravating to y'all. I don't ask blogs to post me when I'm at my worst. You judgmental, self-hating parasites wouldn't last a day as a signed artist. It's really sad to see this shit happening. And
it is.
Honestly, like, a lot of these people coming through, just talking about it. It's
it's rough, and it's sad to see people, like, especially talk bad about her, or
exactly.
or
like I don't even want to imagine what these comments look like, because I mean, just looking at this Instagram account, The Neighborhood Talk, I don't even want to imagine what these comments look like.
I'd hope there are some in there that are like, this guy is creepy. I hope he's not working for y'all
But it's
anymore,
probably just a bunch of misogynistic assholes, if we're being perfectly honest.
Yeah. So it is sad, but it's, if Ari Lennox is like, she feels like, I guess this isn't the only thing that led to her feeling like this. Like, this is, as she said, the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Like, there must be a number of other things that are going on behind the scenes of Dreamville that she is not very happy about.
Exactly.
And I know, like, I'm not sure what her relationship is like with, like, J. Cole specifically. But I do remember her having an opinion, like vocalizing an opinion on the whole J. Cole No Name thing.
Yeah.
And she was definitely not on his side
for sure
for that one. So, I think, if Ari wants to be out of this label, like, man, I hope she's able to get out, because I know that there are a number of artists that, just always talk about how they are a lot happier after being independent.
Yeah, exactly. And like the fact that it's, I mean, we were just talking about how streaming's unethical, but like how in this day and age being independent is truly a lot more doable than, years prior. And I mean, you can oftentimes be more successful being independent. I mean, on a case by case basis, but you'd be more successful being independent than being signed to a label. And I just like, it's really weird to see. And I obviously, like, I don't want to make the direct comparison because these two always get compared, but like in a case like SZA too, she's also gone on social media and made complaints about her label and stuff like that. And it's these labels mistreatment about, and like the fact that it's both TDE and Dreamville that are majority male dominated labels, and the women on these labels are complaining about it and are being mistreated, according to their complaints. That doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. So it's concerning, and it raises a larger issue about how women are treated in the music industry, obviously. But the fact that these two prominent names that are obviously these labels are, often put in a head-to-head basis, but both having a very similar issue here.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no reason it should be like this for either her or SZA.
Yeah, exactly.
Their respective labels. Like, I don't know what the deal is. Obviously, I don't know the inner workings of Dreamville and Interscope, but I think we can kind of see that there are more issues going on at Dreamville that we kind of saw with the Earthgang situation this past week too.
Yes. So that was really
story.
what got us like really wanting to talk about it, because like the fact that these are like kind of week to week, back to back. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you've been keeping up, Earthgang was supposed to release their album this past weekend, and they did not. So we've been like, okay, what's the deal then, right?
On there?
So obviously, they didn't make a statement on the day of what was supposed to be the release day. Everyone was looking on their respective streaming platform and was like, "Where's the album, bro?"
There's nothing here,
and there's nothing there. And they actually, the day after, which was on Saturday, they put out this statement, so we can go ahead and read it right here. This is from their Instagram post, actually. But living every moment for other people can quickly become a prison. We put our life into this album and want it to see the light of day. Unfortunately, we can't control everything. Our date was our date, and all week we were frustrated and sad that our album wasn't cleared. And after promising so much and realizing that it wasn't in the stars, we as a team got proactive to set up any way possible for fans to hear the music, doing shows in small venues impacted by the pandemic, in the process of planning pop-ups in mom and pop record stores around the world for fans. Some people may say, quote, "Why not just tell us that?" Which, I mean, yeah, why not? Yeah. Well, most of our life is expected to be on display and exposed for some consumption of people who sometimes don't stop to think about what we as artists go through. We choose to keep some level of privacy as we were dealing with many feelings of disappointment, frustration, uncertainty, and moving pieces that seem to never cease spinning. Think about how much this meant to you. Now imagine how we feel about our music coming out that we've worked on through the peaks and valleys of the last years. So as we navigate this new space, balancing transparency and privacy, please grant us grace. Sometimes we don't always make the best decisions, but we can make the best out of the decisions we make. See you at a pop-up soon, and yes, Ghetto Gods will be available worldwide. So yeah, obviously there's some more label stuff going on with their project as well.
Yeah.
And they haven't been specific about what it was, whether it was getting samples cleared or just the label doesn't want to release it yet.
Yeah, you know. I heard that samples was at least a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that was the whole thing. But I do know that that was a part of it. And you know, I think the main thing was first them, because of course there were things that are probably out of their control in terms of this album release, right? Whatever it is going on at the label that is not allowing them to drop their album on time, that is out of their hands, right? But what was in their hands was to communicate something. We didn't need to know the inner workings, you know, of what's happening there. But something as simple as just, hey, we're sorry, the album's not going to be out on time. We're doing our best to get it to you as soon as possible, right?
Exactly.
You don't need to tell us exactly what it is. Like they're saying like, oh, our life is always on display and exposed for consumption. I'm not asking for, you know, I'm not asking you to tell me everything about your day today, right? Like you had an album promoted, you know, had a release date that was coming. Then once the release date came around, you all didn't say anything about why the album wasn't dropping. And instead, then they had their manager that took to Twitter to be like, no, it's the album's dropping, but it's only dropping live.
Which was
so
just a lie, technically speaking.
Which like, because then now people are like, oh my gosh, it's only dropping live. Like, why is this was not told to us? Like, we're not going to be able to ever listen to the album. Like, what if we can't catch a live show? Like, like all these different things, you know. And so then it just, there became a lot of confusion. There was outrage, etc. And I think it definitely got a little bit out of control, for sure. Like I think people got a little bit too up in arms, and their outrage was misplaced.
No, definitely.
Was a bit misplaced in terms of completely going all in on Earthgang and blaming that on them. But
which I mean, that's just like
a lot better.
That's just initial reaction. Like
Right.
obviously you're like, hey, what the fuck? And especially like when they didn't communicate it until the day after, it's like, like
Yeah.
they're seemingly MIA and not mentioning anything. So like how are people
Right.
supposed to know? So I can understand
Especially
that.
when your manager, when a Dreamville manager comes and says, "Sorry, it's only dropping live." Like,
Yeah, which
it's like,
why
okay,
lie, bro? Why
it's like,
lie?
all right, Dreamville. Now you're already now look what you're doing. You're making the mess worse. You're making the mess worse.
Yeah.
Um, and they also took. I don't know if you're aware, but like they're on Earthgang is like fairly active on Reddit.
Oh, really?
Um, and like yeah, and so they had someone. There was someone had commented on this post on the Earthgang subreddit and was just like talking about the manager from Dreamville that went in and posted that, but he said he's part of Dreamville, not Earthgang's management team. You should be blaming Earthgang and their management team, not Dreamville. As for Dreamville wasting their potential personnel for the same, because many albums being delayed could be for many reasons. One being the artists themselves or the distributor Interscope not clearing samples. So there's like a thing where it's like, oh, is it Dreamville or is it actually Interscope?
Yeah.
And Earthgang responded and said, we're signed to Dreamville. Dreamville is a label. They're partners with Interscope. Not going to blame anyone, but they do have power. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Which that's weird. The person, the Dreamville manager, talking about how blame
yeah,
Earthgang, like directly saying that. That's kind of
yeah,
shady.
like um, there's it's a very
It's a bit of a mess of a
interesting
situation.
situation. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes of Dreamville that need to get figured out. There's
Yeah.
obviously, Jid's album has been delayed multiple times.
Yeah.
Whether it be something on his behalf, whether it be for leaks, whether it be other stuff behind the scenes that we're not aware of. Um,
We're
it's
never
just,
getting this album, man.
I know it seems like we're never getting any Dreamville albums at this point. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so difficult for them to drop music. Um, but I don't understand why it is still as difficult. Let people drop the music that they want to drop. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are more complicated things going on behind the scenes, but I know that the artists on the label don't seem very happy right now.
Yeah,
Which is
it's
definitely not a good
really
place
it's
to be in.
so odd, like back to back, these two
Yeah,
news stories happening. And like it's crazy because we were talking before about how like with the stride that Dreamville has, like they're putting out much
yeah,
more than TDE respectively.
for
So
sure.
like, they have a chance to like surpass them in quote unquote like prestige and greatness and whatnot.
Yeah,
So, but I mean, looking at this, it's like it's starting to get a little bit rocky now.
yeah. It's rough. And then, if you have artists that are talking about leaving the label,
Yeah,
like that's no place. That's not a place you want to be in,
of
you
course.
know. Um and so I think that Dreamville, especially since this is J. Cole's label, his own personal label, like I'm not trying to like blame J. Cole directly, but I'm
Yeah,
saying this is his label and he is the person that is like,
he's the
I
face.
he's the face of the label. He's the person that goes, I see this artist. I think they're doing something really great. I want to bring them in and I want to give them a platform. And so I think when you do that, it's also partially your responsibility to make sure that you are taking care of these artists and that these artists are being heard,
Yeah,
um and their concerns are being heard, um
right.
and there something is being actively done to fix that. And so um I hope that there are discussions going on behind the scenes to work out everything that's happening there, um and I think it's gonna be resolved because they are a very talented label, and I would hate to see them lose talent because they were not
Of
treated
poor
the
management.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would be unfortunate, and just I certainly hope that going forward they fix their issues that they're having. I would love for the issues to be resolved with Ari Lennox as well.
yeah,
You know, if she truly is unhappy with the label, by all means, you know, girl, get out of there. By all means, but
yeah.
But I mean, if there's some sort of solution that can be drawn to where she's treated better, I would love for that resolution to be reached. And I mean, yeah, I would love for Cole to step in some way and like fix this because, like, yeah, no, like this is you're the face of this label. This is
right.
These are the people that you handpicked, and if they're not happy, then that doesn't reflect too well on you. And I mean, yeah, even if you're not, you know, puppet mastering all the inner workings and shit like that, you know, there's still some sense of the optics that, you know, you're the head, you're the face. You can try your best to step in and make sure some shit gets done.
Exactly. He's capable. He has more power. Like Dreamville said, or like Earthgang said, Dreamville has more power than you would think. So
right.
Let's fix it.
Let's fix it. Let's fucking fix it.
God. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I really, really hope the mess at Dreamville gets fixed. That's it. That's really it.
Me too.
This has been a bit of a depressing episode, but we're gonna try our best to remain. Yeah, we're gonna try our best to remain optimistic, hope for the best in everything going forward. But to try to bring it back to something a little more positive, let's talk about everything that we enjoyed this past week. And I'm gonna go ahead and go first because I had a bit of a busy weekend, so I didn't have too much time to catch up on stuff.
Gotcha.
Let me see here. I'll start with TV because I didn't do much, right? I did watch last week's episode of Abbott Elementary. Didn't watch this week's even because we are filming this later in the week, so it's out. But I haven't seen this most recent one. So definitely excited to watch that. It's coming soon, probably tonight or something. We'll see.
Yeah.
I managed to get in another episode of Archive 81. It's starting to pick up a solid bit too. I think it definitely is going to be a lot more backloaded and it's going to like progress. It's a bit more of a slow burner, which kind of makes sense. Obviously, like even though may not necessarily be directly involved in the project, but with that kind of James Wan executive producer hand, kind of makes sense to be like that and such. Let me see here. Oh, I caught 2 episodes of Atlanta. 2 episodes. I caught Barbershop and the Teddy Perkins episode. Barbershop is so good. So good. So good. Those really, honestly, Barbershop's probably my favorite episode of the entire series.
Hilarious.
Because it's hilarious, but it was so frustrating. Because look, the fact that like, and this is gonna sound stupid, but the fact that like, as a white dude, the fact that I've dealt with like some of the most fuck ass barber shit, like obviously this is like the most exaggerated to the point shit, right?
Yeah.
But listen, my barber has that fuck ass Bluetooth headset too. That's all I need to say. But that is by far my favorite episode thus far.
And that's a good pick. Like that is a great episode. Good. And what's even more wild is the guy who got cast as Bibby the barber.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have his lines until like there was something that his agent messed something up, and when he got on set he thought it was just a background or like extra or something. And he didn't realize he had like a huge role in the episode. So he got on set and he had to like learn his lines. Like
I feel like that makes it better though. That feels a lot more natural to the character.
He was just phenomenal.
That was a fantastic episode. So amazing.
It's like it feels almost like a Safdie's brother movie.
Yeah.
And the like how frustrating and like you're just like, oh my god, like stop, things just need to stop happening. Like I wish things would stop happening.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. That was just.
Yeah,
And then
Teddy
just like
Perkins is also
that is a really good one too.
insane.
And it was
Like,
great to get like a Darius focus episode too.
yeah, and like that one I feel like Barbershop was good, but Teddy Perkins kind of like is what really set everyone on the internet like, oh my god, like
Oh
this
yeah,
is
no.
crazy, because it's like almost like a horror episode.
Oh yeah, no. It was like really like it was really
very dark.
unsettling.
It's also the only episode of the show that is aired. I want to remember. Yeah, I want to say they didn't have commercials. They aired it without commercials, I think.
Oh yeah, because it was a longer one.
Yeah, it's a longer episode.
I mean, I unfortunately had to watch it with commercials, but you know.
Yeah, I don't even think when I saw it, I didn't know that Teddy Perkins was Donald Glover. Like, I didn't know that was him. When I saw it. So then
I
when
was
everyone
today years old.
You yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no, that was Donald.
That's
in the full on makeup and
that's so funny.
Everything.
That's so funny.
And he showed up to the Emmys like that.
That's great.
Dressed
That's
as
even
Teddy
better.
Perkins. And then he didn't win the Emmy, which was upsetting. But I wanted to see him give
the speech as Teddy Perkins. That would have been so good. But I'm honestly, after those two episodes, I was already hyped for season 3. I am so much more hyped now.
Yeah.
I'm ready to just finish it.
Those were like two of the best episodes of
really,
the show.
Honestly, some of the best episodes of TV, period.
Yeah.
That I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Phenomenal.
So great. But that's about it. Oh, they I don't know how recently they added it, but Craig of the Creek season 3 is on HBO Max now. And honestly, it's a pretty good Cartoon Network show. I do really enjoy it. And it's super dope. And also Jeff Rosenstock does the theme song and it's really good. Such a good theme song. But yeah, I didn't manage to catch any movies, but moving forward into music, had a bit of a heftier playlist that I didn't manage to get through. Benny and J. Cole, such a good track. Although, like, obviously we were just like, saying shit about J. Cole, but man, can we get this Cole all the time?
I wish.
Why can't he just do this all the time? But I mean, Tana Talk 4 is gonna be so good. He officially announced the release date's February 11th. So excited. Yep. So excited. I really wanted to love the Charlie and Rena track more. And it got me a lot lower on the Charlie album that's coming out.
I mean, you know how I felt about all the singles.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the first one was pretty solid for me, but like just all of the subsequent ones have been just okay. It does feel to like just strip back, and I want more. I wanted more, but
and she was talking about, like, on Twitter, she was like, well, if we do songs like this and they get really big, it'll give me and Rena more of a platform to bring weird stuff to the mainstream, like if we can get a lot of fans and like
but that's not how that works usually, though.
It's not.
What usually happens is when people go like the mainstream, they usually become formulaic.
Yeah.
Which is the problem.
Yeah, or it's like you continue doing what you're doing and people start to go, whoa.
Yeah.
This is different.
Yeah, this is revolutionary.
It's not usually I don't want to say sink down. That feels like but kind of, get
into
on
box.
Their level so that they can I can get people in and then be like, gotcha. This isn't what I do. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, which I mean, like, I feel like there are examples where that has worked. So I certainly hope that, like, if this is just
I'd love to see it happen.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to see it happen. But moving on, Survivor's Guilt, Saba and G Herbo. Bro, my God.
Yeah.
That was a really good, such a good lead into this album that's dropping on Friday. I'm so ready. Well, I guess dropping now, probably by the time this episode releases.
Right.
So fucking excited.
Yeah.
I was not feeling this Pink Sweat project, but the last track, Spiritual, is very, very good. It is very good. New ASAP Rocky track with Nigo or Aria. I think it. Yeah. That's also pretty good as well. I know we're supposed to talk about what we enjoyed, but I wanna get it off my chest. That Kyle album, man, it hurts my soul.
Man. You used to be a big Kyle fan, huh?
I used to be, man. Like, it's just, and listen, like, I'll even give that, like, I enjoyed Light of Mine, but just everything after that has just been, blech. See You When I'm Famous, blech. But this was some of the most soulless he has ever been. Dang. There is no heart. There is no life in this project. Jeez. And it makes me so sad to see.
Is he still on his, like, very positive sounding, like, his music just sounds very, like, happy time?
Kinda, but, like, it's, like, not even that. Like, it's just, like, there's so much auto-tune that has, like, it's like you cut out all of the low end. So, it's like, it already sounds super airy and, like, dead. It's just, this album is not it, dude. It's also called It's Not So Bad. Kyle, it is.
And you're like, no,
it is
bad.
So bad.
It's bad.
My man, please stop. Please just, like, you were doing good. You were doing good. You were a promising name and you were doing cool shit. Even when you were doing the positivity shit, some of it kind of worked. But, like,
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Very disappointing. But back to stuff that I enjoyed. New singles from Toro y Moi. I'm not even.
Toro y Moi.
Yeah, Toro y Moi. Yeah, it's I can't French. That's French, right?
Yeah, you were there. You were close.
I had it, but pretty dope. Really enjoyed Postman. This Amber Mark project, 3 Dimensions Deep, I loved. Oh my god, I adored this album.
All right,
so good. Kilo Kitchen Vince Staples track, New Tricks, Art, Aesthetics, and Money. So good, so good. And then past that, I didn't really get into anything. I had a couple more tracks that I wanted to get to. But I got about halfway through the NLE Choppa project and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this, man. It's not my thing. It's not terrible. Don't get me wrong. It's just not my thing.
Wasn't for you,
yeah, but that's it. I'm excited for this week though. We're getting Saba. And yeah, that's all I care about. But what about you, man?
I didn't get through a whole lot. I mean, I didn't listen to a whole lot of music because there weren't really any albums I saw that particularly caught my eye this week. But like you said, the new Kilo Kishman Staples was great. I'm happy to see them working together again for so many years. I got around to listening to Arca Kick 2. I'm gonna try to get through all of them, but Kick 2 is the one that I was able to get through. And it's great. It was so good. She's so good.
Kick 3 is probably my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah, that's one everyone seems to be really, really high on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a normie, but no, it's really good. Kick 3 is really good.
I'll have to see what it's about. But also, the new Benny the Butcher and J. Cole track, amazing. These 2 singles from Hachi, I had never heard of this artist. I don't remember how I stumbled upon her, but I think she's like signed to a similar label, like that's at least associated with the same label as like Phoebe and like Tori Moore and stuff. So I kind of stumbled upon her music, and I thought these 2 singles from her upcoming album, Quicksand and This Enchanted, were pretty good.
Okay.
So that was really that for music. I can't say that I really jumped into anything else. As far as stuff I watched, TV, I started Peacemaker.
Yes.
Oh my god. This show is so good.
So good. I was a little worried, not gonna lie. I was a little worried you weren't gonna like it.
No, I mean, here's the thing: is like I adore the Suicide Squad. Like I thought that movie was absolutely phenomenal. I'd consider it probably one of my favorite superhero movies.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, the whenever they announced there was a Peacemaker show, I wasn't like foaming at the mouth for it. Like as much as I liked that character in the movie, for some reason the prospect of him doing a show by himself, I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
I was
like
skeptical too,
what
but
I
like
think
James
I
Gunn's
really
on board, so like
yeah. So it was like it'll probably be good. My thing was just like I think what I really loved about Suicide Squad was just the interactions with that entire
mhm.
group and everyone together. So I was like, is this gonna be good? Like, if they said they were doing a Peacemaker and like Bloodsport team up show, like I'd be like,
Yeah,
oh, that would be dope. Like
that would be
they
pretty
have a
cool.
really fun dynamic together.
I mean, but it wouldn't
But
make sense with how the movie ended. So
right, it wouldn't make sense. So um yeah, but it's so good. It's so funny.
yeah, it is
And
honestly his character is just so much better in the show. Like
it's
you get
I was gonna
so
say
much.
it's so and he's getting to do a lot. I feel like this is the best showcase of John Cena's acting
Oh
abilities. Like
yeah,
he is like I people joke around about John Cena. He's a really good actor.
he
Like he's a
is, dude.
really good actor.
He's
And
got it.
I've been on the John Cena train since Blockers. Okay? That is a
That's
great
probably
movie.
prior to this and Suicide Squad. That was probably
Um
like one of his better performances.
yeah, like that is a legitimately really good movie. I think it probably, the name itself kind of deterred people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's honestly a really good movie. But Peacemaker, he's doing a great job. I've seen the first. I was getting to the end of episode 4.
Oh, okay.
So I'll probably be caught up by
Yeah,
the end of the
episode
day.
4, I want to say is probably
Um,
I think that was the one I said was my favorite of the
yeah,
series so far, right? Episode 5 is really good too. Episode
yeah,
5 is really fucking good.
I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
watched that last week. Fuck me, I guess, right?
yeah. Well, you talked about it. Oh, there must have been a new episode, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a new episode on Thursday that I watched.
Um, yeah. So I'm really excited to get through that. And the opening theme, like I never skip it.
It never
Like
gets
it's
old.
so
It never
good.
gets old. I straight up sing that shit just in my free time.
It's so good. It's so
Throw your
good.
dog the invisible bone, man. I don't even have a dog. Fuck, dude, that
And
opening
dude,
is so good. I love it.
amazing.
I love it.
It's amazing.
And also the soundtrack in general of the show is so good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just front to back. Front to back amazing.
Exactly.
Let's see. I also watched a new episode of Euphoria. Yeah, new episode of Euphoria. There's Abbott Elementary. Watched the episode of that from last week. I haven't seen the one from yesterday yet.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't know if when we recorded the last pod if I had already finished the final season of Ozark, or if I had a couple episodes left, but
I think you said you had a couple left.
yeah, I finished that. God, it's definitely one of my favorite shows. It's one of Netflix, like one of the best things that Netflix has to their name. It's so incredibly good. And I'm like, although I do want Succession to sweep at the Emmys, some competition. There's some competition, and I feel like Ozark has always been their biggest competition, but I don't know. So yeah, very good. As far as movies, um, I had actually still 2 more Sundance movies that I watched.
Oh yeah.
One of them was called Cha Cha Real Smooth, um, which was amazing from this director. He did this movie called Shithouse that I really, really loved. This one was also very good. Got acquired by Apple TV, so if you have Apple TV at some point, you'll be able to see it.
Nice.
Also, the last movie I saw was called Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, and it has Sterling K. Brown and Regina Hall as these. They are the owners of this mega church, and Sterling K. Brown's character has caught up in this sexual misconduct controversy, and they're trying to rebuild their church after the whole fallout from that. So it's satirical. It's hilarious.
What did you say it was called again?
Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's been acquired yet by anyone, but I mean, the two names are pretty big.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it will get picked up at some point, but it's really, really good.
Nice.
Then I went to the theater to see this movie Belle,
What?
which I believe the trailer played before No Way Home. At least it did for my theater.
What's the premise?
Is this Japanese animated movie? And basically it kind of is a twist on the story of Cinderella. It's like somewhat modern, and like involves like the internet and this world where you can kind of create your own avatar. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but it's very good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And it's in theaters right now, so if you want to.
Nice.
Then the last movie that I saw this week, I was really on a movie kick last week.
Yeah, I can tell.
It was after Sundance. I was just like, the adrenaline was pumping, you know.
Yeah.
I randomly decided to rewatch Good Time, from the Safdie brothers, and man, this movie is still so good. It's even better than I remember. The last time I saw this movie, I was like, it was not that long after I'd graduated high school, so it had been a long time. But I have like a deeper appreciation for it now. And I think it's so good. Legitimately, it is one of my. I think I'm like, yeah, I can say this is one of my favorite movies ever. Like I like updated my like top 4 on Letterboxd.
Oh, I gotta do a top 4. Oh well, wait, you can only do that with Pro membership, right?
No.
Oh, you can do it? Okay.
Yeah, you can do it with any.
I gotta think about that. That's too much thinking.
It is a lot of thinking, but I was like, man, this movie is just so good, and I can appreciate it so much more now. And I would recommend anyone who hasn't seen it, watch it before you watch Batman, just so you can see, you know, kind of what Robert Pattinson is capable of, or watch The Lighthouse. You know, that's
yeah, that too.
You know, metric too. But I do really think Good Time is fantastic. And it's on Netflix.
Oh, nice. Easy watching. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, did you have any books you wanted to recommend? Because I know we started talking about doing books.
Oh, books? Oh, I haven't really read anything else besides I was still reading Berserk.
Well, I picked up a book. Guys, I'm a reading man now. I picked up Cronin H. Mart by Michelle Zahner, aka Japanese Breakfast. I haven't started it yet, but I did pick it up, and I'm gonna start it very soon. So very excited to do that. Oh, and also I talked about doing video games last time. I've already sunk 17 hours into Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's so much fun. I hardly give a shit about how bad the graphics can be at times. It does bother me a little bit, but it's so much fun. It's such like a refreshing change of pace for the game series as a whole. So much fun. Honestly, if you were like about getting it, highly recommend. That's it, folks.
Nice.
Podcast listening platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on podcast listening platforms. Stream on Twitch. Mondays. Twitch.tv/Live. Folks, see you all next time.
Peace.